I'm going to show you how to do overdub recording of MIDI clips. This is a great way to add layers of percussion instruments or drums or beats without having to play them all at the same time. Sometimes there's so many complex layers going on that it's actually impossible to play them all. But if we played one layer on top of the next and then record them into a single clip, that can be really handy. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a basic kit here. Okay, so I've got my kit loaded into my track now. And if I click, so if I added a clip, I'll just double click here, and now that adds a 1 measure clip in here. Now that's not quite long enough, so I'm going to make this a little bit longer. So I'm going to duplicate it. So now it's 1, 2 measures, and let me actually make it 4 measures. Duplicate one more time. Now I've got a 4 measure clip here. And I'm going to go up to the top here. So I'm in the arrangement view. I'm going to click and drag this. So now I've got 4 measures. And I can know, because if I bring this further, you can see these little tick marks. And so that shows like a loop point. So I'm just going to do this. So now what I want to do is I want to set it so every time I'm going to record, hit the record button, but what I want it to do is sort of loop back and forth. So every time I record, I can play a different instrument and add it to this. So what would normally happen is if I just hit record here and I start playing something. So I've recorded and enabled the track. Let me make sure everything is set. Okay, cool. So maybe I'll start with a kick. So I'll hit record. I'm going to turn on my metronome. You might want to turn down the metronome a little bit here. So I'll do that as well. I've got a 2-bar introduction. Great. So now I'm ready to go, and I will hit record. Okay, now you notice it actually kept going a little bit, so I'm going to go in here. So that's what would happen is I would keep recording. Now if I go here, so I'm at this point, actually let me make sure. So I'm at the beginning here. If I hit record again, it's going to replace what I have here. So I'm going to play a different instrument, hit record. So you can see some of my clip has been, actually I have 2 different clips here now. So one's been replaced with the other. So that's not what I want. So let me undo this. Undo. So there's my original one. I'm going to make sure that this is the right length. So it's 4 measures in length that ends here. So there's my clip length. I'm going to quantize this pretty quickly. So I'm going to set quantize setting. I need to set this to 16th notes. Hit OK. All right, cool. So now what I'm going to do is overdub some other sounds on top of this. So maybe some toms. Okay. So what I need to do is I'm going to, this is a loop punch in point, a loop start and stop. So I can set the loop length in terms of what plays. So I'm going to make it go from the beginning of this clip to the end of the clip. And then if I hit this button right here, this loop switch, when I hit play or record, it'll just play over and over. It'll start here, and when it gets to here, it'll just loop back and go back and forth. And so this is where I can add other layers on top of one another. And then the last thing I need to do in order to overdub record is there's this MIDI arrangement overdub button. I'm going to click on this, and this ensures that every time I loop back, it will add and not take anything away. So anything I've done previously will still be there. So now I can hit my record button. Okay, now I'll add another layer. And then let me add one more layer. Okay, some things are getting a little squirrely in here, so I think I'm going to have to try to maybe quantize this a little bit. So I'll select everything. I'm going to quantize to 16th note, hit OK. Let's see if this is what I like. So I don't like these being together. I'm going to actually put this before it. See what that sounds like. So I actually like this coming right after. So let me do that again here. I'm going to do the same thing here. So make some sort of changes in the fly here. So I can do a combination of editing MIDI this way, adding different layers by playing them in. So let me add then one more layer. Okay. And this ride, I'm just going to bring down the velocity a little bit so it's much softer. So I selected all the notes, and I can go down here to this area here. This is where velocity is. And now any of these dark little stems, that right, this is the velocity. This is very high, and then this will be very low. So it'll drop it in terms of the character of the sound and the relative strength of it. Okay, so that's the basics in terms of like overdub recording. So as long as this is activated and I'm recording into a clip, it will only add, it won't take away. And then of course I can at any point go in and change things and move things around to do all that. So there we go, overdub recording.